Hey guys, what's up? So today was kind of tricky. The market was rough. It was rough, choppy waters out there. But I'm going to try to explain some of the method to my madness. Before show you my trades, like I just want to point out that some of you guys know that I really like to trade ranges, right? So it's like the tops and the bottoms of a specific range. But I've noticed that when they work, they work. And when they don't work, I'm a little bit confused why they're not working. So today I thought I would try something new, which is I would tie in some pivots around it, around the range, and kind of build a strategy with the range levels that I really like, but also with the pivots on the SPY and within the stock itself. So, all right, so today, so in the morning was SPY. Let me throw a pivot on here really quick. Boop, boop. All right, so when we opened in the morning on SPY, we were opening around R3. So I was thinking that if we get a rejection of R3, then any of my ranges that I like, I could play one of those levels to the short side. And as long as it's a stock that I'm wanting to take a short on. If there was a long that I liked, then maybe if we got a breakout of like towards the top of R3 and the pre-market high, that maybe there would be a long play that I could take off of that. But when I looked at the stocks on my list, I didn't really like any of them for a long. There were like a couple, but it wasn't worth it. So I was mostly interested in a short. So I was like, all right, if we reject the R3 on the SPY and we're at one of my range levels, then I will take a short off of that range level on a stock that I believe is that I'm more short biased on, which is pretty much every stock, but I have a reason. Okay, so we opened around R3, and then let me just put on, I traded NVDA and Pinterest. And if I put, NVIDIA on here. Let me just walk through this real quick. Okay, it probably looks a little bit messy, but there's a method to my madness here. I'm gonna go to a 1 minute chart and we're gonna zoom into the morning. Okay, so the level that I really like, that's, oh, let me show you on the daily real quick so you can know why I chose the level that I chose. Let's take off these little guys and let's zoom in here. Yeah, on the daily. Okay, so the range that I was looking at was this sort of situation right here. So we've got this that kind of like broke out above it, but really for the most part, we're trading in here. We've got the bottom of this wick right here on this candle, and then kind of this top right here that this is kind of just like bouncing around. So I really like this, and we broke below it and tested below it earlier this week when the SPY broke down, but then we pushed up. So now we're coming up against the bottom of this range. So I'm thinking if the SPY rejects R3 and loses R3 and we're coming up against the bottom of this range, maybe we can get a short back into wherever value is to the downside. So let's clean this up and zoom in. We'll go the 2 minute. So the SPY was pretty choppy at the open, but it wasn't quite breaking out of R3. So in my mind, I was thinking, all right, this could be a short that's working. The level that I really wanted to play was this yellow one down here. This is the bottom of that range that I was showing you on the daily. So ideally, my play was a short below this if the SPY couldn't break out above R3. So I really probably shouldn't have taken any of these trades up here. They're really not my style, but what I saw was when we pushed up in the morning, we pushed up on this high volume candle, and then the volume just faded. It just flatlined, and the SPY really wasn't strong. So I saw it throw in this doji here. I saw it push down, and I chased it a bit. I got in here thinking that we were going to get a break of this level. It pushed back up, and when it rejected again, I hit in for another tier. And so I went into this thinking like, all right, so maybe this is just a squeeze above the level. So I hit in thinking we'd get a break at this level, and the SPY wasn't super strong yet, but then it got to the level and I should have taken a partial. And this is like where I failed miserably on this, is I should have just taken a partial and then got out of break even. But because I didn't and it started to bounce, I immediately was like, nah, this isn't working yet. I just need to get out of break even. So no, nothing gained, nothing lost on this guy. And then the SPY started to push up a bit. So SPY's pushing up, but it still doesn't look super strong. So we get back up to this level and I see it reject. And so I'm thinking, all right, well, now I'm at the top of this level. Let's try to take it down. And again, I should really just be playing this. This is my plan. And I got stopped out for a full 1 hour loss over here. But what I saw when that happened was, and like I said, I'm trying to pair my ranges with pivots so I can see why some of these levels aren't working out and where there might also be another entry when that level doesn't quite work out, or maybe why I just shouldn't play it at all. So I threw on the pivots this morning on this. Let's pull these up, and you can see a clean rejection off of R4 on NVDA. And if I zoom in to the, we'll do the 1 minute chart. I actually called this out in the BBT chat, and I really hope somebody else took it as well. But so I got stopped out of break even, but when I got stopped out, NVIDIA threw this volume on this shooting star at R4. And right then the SPY started to roll over. So I said, you know what? I'm at break even on one, I'm at 1 hour loss on the other. I don't see this being super strong to break above this level. So I see this as a good signal if I was just trading based on volume and pivots. So I entered in for another short play and I got the move. The SPY rolled over, we were golden. The fun part about this one is, so I took a partial here, and then I also, let me just clear that up. My dog is making his bed right now. So I took a partial down here. Wait, this other one. Okay, so here's my level that I really wanted to play this morning, right? So that's my plan. Like, I want to play short below this level if the SPY rejects R3. So at this point, the SPY had rejected R3, and we're starting to break down below this level. So I took a safety partial, but I saw it struggling, and I saw volume start to come in. So after I took my partial, I said, you know what? I'm going to play this just like I wanted to play it this morning. So all this stuff up here was not any of my plan. Luckily, this one worked out, right? And it's something that I'm going to try to work into my system. But so this one worked out, but this was the plan that I really had this morning, which was to play off of this level. When it broke below this level and the SPY broke below R3, I would play a short here. So I partialed, I took another partial here. I actually added on the pullback because it couldn't quite get back above that level. Partial here. And then I just decided to get all out because the SPY started to push back up again, and NVIDIA was just following the market. And I thought, you know what, I'm just going to take it because I'm in the green and this is good for me. So maybe it would give me another entry later. But yeah, so that worked out. I did end up taking it again later in the afternoon. It was a winner, but it was nothing to write home about. So it's so hard to see on my chart when you put all these pivots on because there's just so many freaking lines. But yeah, so this yellow line here, you can probably sort of see it. It broke back below this yellow line, right? So this is the bottom of that range again. And when it did that, let me bring this over so you can see. When it did that, we've got the Qs here. So when it broke below the level again, we've got R3 on the Qs that tried to push above, rejected, broke down. Same thing on TQQ, and the SPY was trying to get to R4 and it couldn't, and it started to roll over. So I've got all of these kind of like market indicators telling me that like I don't think we're going to break back above this level, and this is your level, this is the bottom of your range. So like, why not try another one? And I was already green on the day, and I thought, well, I'll give it one more shot. Maybe I'll get something out of this. So the only thing it didn't have going for it was the L2. The L2 was, there wasn't a lot on it, and the things that were on it were up above on the ask side, and there was really no weight to the downside. So there's really nothing to drag this down, and the market's just like chopping around. You know, I entered, I noticed that it kept pulling back like this. So I drew a trend line, and it tried to break down, you know, a little while ago, and the market pushed up, and I saw it starting to break this trend line, and yeah, I just got all out. I was like, it's not worth it at this point. You know, I've waited this long. Like this is just, if this is going to reject this level and move, it better freaking reject that level and move. So, you know, whatever, it worked out. Yeah, so that was how I played NVIDIA. And then I did take a trade on, a couple trades on Pinterest, one that didn't work out and one that did. So let me just take off my pivots for the daily. So I'm looking at the daily and I see this range. I already have it drawn right here. So I see that range on the daily. And then if I back it up to the weekly, you can see this sort of situation, which I say a lot and people have been pointing that out to me. Yes, everything is a situation. But so you got this situation in here and you got the top of the range right here. Well, the top of this range right here is the bottom of this thing that's formed on the daily. So I'm thinking that's a pretty strong level. It's either going to be support or it's going to be resistance. And so this morning, what I did was zoom in here. Okay, so I threw a limit order out right when the market opened. I threw a limit order out here and I put my stop up here, and I was just thinking the SPY is opening below R3. If we push down, like we're already at this level, I want to be in it. Like if we immediately reject R3 on the SPY, I don't want to like miss this move right here, and I'm willing to take a 1 hour loss. So I got in, took the 1 hour loss, unfortunately. And then what I did was I threw my pivots on, and what do you know? So bottom of my range isn't working. And of course, we've got this up here. We've got R4, and you know, the SPY, it started to push up, you know, 5 minutes or so or whatever into the morning, or I don't know, at some point in the morning, the SPY started pushing up, and then it started to roll over. And we've got this R4 rejection up here. Basically, it couldn't quite get to it. So I hit in on this and got a pretty decent move on it. We got down, I did the same thing I did on NVIDIA, and this is to my detriment this week, but I came down here. Here's my level, this yellow line. That's the bottom of that range that we're pushing up against, which at one point, you know, was resistance, it was support. So I see this as a very strong level. We get down into it, and I unfortunately didn't take a partial. So when it rejected and it pushed back up and the SPY was still just kind of chopping around, I thought, you know what, I'm just going to take a partial at VWAP just in case, you know, set my stop at break even. So I did, I took a partial, and then it started to break down, and the SPY started to roll over, started to just completely reject R3. We're back at my level that I really like. And I just waited until previous day close area, took a partial here. We got down to like the 33.50 area. I took a partial there, and then I just decided to get all out. We're at this 200 moving average. We, you know, there's really nothing on the L2. The L2 is like boring as hell. We would have to go like another, I think it was like 50 cents or something like that to actually hit a full ATR for the day. And I just didn't see like that really happening. And at the same time, the SPY was starting to hold a bottom, what looked like maybe a bottom. And of course, it turned around and, you know, just kind of trended up when the SPY started to push back up. So, you know, hindsight, this could have been a really good flip play, and I could have got, you know, double move here, but it's fine. I got a good move out of it either way. But yeah, it was definitely it was a bit of a choppy, rough morning, but it turned out good overall. It was just getting through the morning was the hardest part. But yeah, I'm excited to start kind of pairing these pivots and things also with my tops and bottoms ranges. Maybe that will make my win rate higher because everybody wants that. All right, anyways, talk to you guys later. Peace.